First step we're gonna do is gonna take off the exhaust so that way we can pull off the power valve cover. So the silencer is just 2 bolts, 2 8mm heads on them. You're gonna have another 8mm here and here, and then you're gonna have to pull the pipe springs off with the spring puller. Pretty simple if you haven't done it before. I'm gonna take you through every step of this thing. Make sure you kind of watch the clip on the back. If you bend your pipe, like how this pipe has a big dent in it, the pipe mount kind of sprung back. You can loosen both sides of it when we're putting it back on, and it kind of help with making sure it's kind of lined up. But this does have a pretty good ding in it. It's almost touching the frame. There you go. It's a little bit easier going back in, and this is without taking the linkage off. I'm gonna step ahead and put it in, so that's what it is. All right, next step we're gonna do is we're gonna take it off of the stand and go ahead and drain the oil, pull the skid plate off. On your skid plate, you're gonna have an 8mm bolt up front and on the back at the bottom. While he's getting that ready, we'll show on Beta's website. First off, make sure everything is in the kit. We got the Kickstarter, the bolt, the collar for the bolt, the Kickstart shaft seal, the freewheel gear with the washer, the spring for the backside of the Kickstart gear, circlip that is going to hold it onto the shelf, and then the ramp. So on Beta's website, betausa.com, we'll go over to the support tab. Once you click the support tab, it will open up an accessories instructions. You just find your part number. This one that we are doing today is AB-21194, so they're in numerical order. Go down 21194 Beta 200RR Kickstart Kit. Click on the kit, it will open up a full set of instructions. Make sure it comes with all the pieces that you see in here. There should be a gasket in that back envelope, which is still packaged up, but starts out. You're gonna drain your transmission oil, remove the silencer and the exhaust pipe, which we have already done. Remove the right lower water pump housing bolt and drain the coolant. Remove the radiator cap and it will start flowing. And then remove the remaining 3 bolts from that housing. As we're getting the oil drained, we're also going to drain the coolant. 13 mil head at the bottom for your drain bolt. Still nice and clean. Bike only has 12 hours on it. I believe this is the 3rd oil change we've done so far. It says the lower mount bolt.
Oh yeah, there's an arrow on it.
Coppery gasket sits recessed in it, it looks like. It'll pop the radiator cap on the other side. And as soon as that goes, it'll start, release the vacuum. Do you want me to get it?
Yeah, maybe.
Release the vacuum and start pouring. This cap's a little tight. There it goes, just enough to start the flow. You go ahead and stand it up a little bit to have a little bit more of a vacuum on it. Slowly releasing the cap. Cap is all the way off. Tilting the bike to try to get it all out because we are going to have to take off that whole cover too. All right. Next step, it says, is to remove the power valve cover, and it's going to need a tamper-proof Allen that you can pick up from Harbor Freight, or hopefully you got one in your toolbox. They're a pain. At this time would be a good time to replace it with a new one. So what that's saying is this one bolt right here is going to have a security Torx on it, so you can't tamper with it. So we'll remove it. If we don't have an extra bolt here for them, they put them on head bolts, 4 strokes, everything, so you can kind of see who's been in it before, I guess. Power valve cover will slide straight towards you because it's going to lock in on the lower seal. So don't pull it up, pull it straight back. That way you can get it to hopefully not pull it out of the cover. Even though we're taking it off, it'd still probably be a pain in the ass. Trying to disconnect the gasket from the cover so that way it doesn't rip when it's trying to come over the power valve rod. But here's that seal right here. You want to pull it straight out over it. And now you're going to be looking for a little clip on the inside of the power valve rod. Not one in it?
No.
As in, there's no spot for it, or? No, there's a spot for it. Well, someone in Italy forgot to put that on, so luckily it stayed on. Yeah, hopefully it didn't fall out, because we've never had this apart. Next, we're removing the brake pedal completely. It's just going to be a 13 mil ratchet, or 13 mil nut on the back side of it, with an 8 mil Allen that holds it together. This makes it a little bit easier to remove the spring and the whole cover. So since this one has the hydraulic line for the clutch on the cover, we're gonna take the cover off and just let it kind of hang out of the way. Normally with the other bikes, it's gonna have the whole piece together. You don't have to remove the cover. You just remove the whole inner cover all at once. Remove the radiator hose. That way you don't have to take the cover off. And pop the brake spring off of the clutch cover itself. Drops the pedal out of the way. Make sure once this cover comes off that you don't pull the clutch lever in. It'll cause you some problems if you pop all this stuff out. You're gonna have some dowels that are just gonna kind of hold the cover centered and in the way. Get the spring out. I'm gonna use a little bungee to hang her anywhere out of the way. All right, so now at this point you can loosen all of the case bolts for the inner clutch cover. Okay, wiggle it off. It's gonna get kind of hung up on the water pipe O-ring. You get really hung up on it. I can remove the cover, set it aside, see if you see any of that that pin in it at all. So we're going to be adding the Kickstart shaft into there. Good thing is all the threads are already tapped for us, so we're not getting crazy with what we have to add to it. But now we're going to pull the clutch out. Remove the throwout assembly when using the clutch. Remove the 27 mil nut, lock washer, flat washer, and complete clutch pack. So you can just remove the throwout section from here. Apparently you don't have to remove the clutch springs. You can just pull the whole pack out at once. So now you're gonna have your 27 mil nut on the inside of the clutch hub. There's a special tool to hold the clutch together, but most of the special tools for people doing clutches is just going to be an impact on a chrome socket. There's a special tool. Okay, you got the big nut. You're going to have a washer, sleeve on the back side. So make sure you get all three of those out. You can put it away for right now and just make sure the bearing comes out. Now we're getting down to it. Very simple. Okay, it's going to say provide the 6mm bolt with Loctite for the return stop. It's going to be this guy and this bolt. Let's put some Loctite on it, and we are going to put the bolt in the second hole. So as it sits this way. Torque to 10 Newton meters. Put some Loctite on her. 10 Newton meters first. Says add some oil to the clip or to the gear and shaft, and then it goes gear, washer, then clip. So what we're gonna do, got some Loctite on it. That other hole is gonna be kind of the alignment hole for the top nub right there. all up in your business. Get her torqued. There's already oil on the shaft because we just drained the oil out of this bike, but you're gonna get your idler gear, washer, and then clip, and that's just gonna go on your transmission shaft right here. Make sure the gear is facing the right way so you're not pushing it up against the case and it's gonna wear a hole through it. It should only freely spin one way, but make sure your clip is on. If you hear the snap like that, then that's good. You're gonna put the whole kickstart assembly with the pull just to the right of the stop. And then you can see it kind of locks into the case. There's a hole just for the kickstart spring. There is alignment dots on it. As long as when you pulled it apart out of the case and didn't drop anything, they should be aligned with the shaft. And what that's gonna do is the backside of this stop right here where the dot is gonna go in the backside of the stop that you just put in there. Feel it be able to click in and then it stops. And then you gotta wind the spring over into the case, into that hole. Okay, so into the case hole, everything's lined up, everything spins freely, there's no binding or anything like that, and then it's locked in. Now we're gonna have to remove the plug that comes into the cover. I said you need some other ones. Your snap ring will just pop out. Just pops that plug right out. You grease the seal up, a little bit of oil on it, pop her in. So it's saying add some more silicone to the power valve. I don't know if it's to let it start sitting up while you do the rest of this stuff, but it kind of jumps around.
What do we do about that clip?
So that's the little guy that we were missing. All right, it's pretty much just silicone to the outside of the power valve on the case, so that way that's everybody's biggest complaint on where they see oil leak out from. All right, so it's saying to add silicone right to this section right here. Make sure it's all nice and cleaned. Put a nice thin layer underneath so that way the gasket can stick to it pretty good. Put the clutch back in. Make sure all the washers are all there. You'll have the back bearing that slides on. Don't force this. Make sure it goes on the shaft nice and smooth. And then you're going to catch the teeth of both the crankshaft and that new idler gear you just put in. There we go. Sliding on. Rock it back and forth. Alright, slides, get the teeth on both sides meshed. You'll have the big spring in there, then you have the lock washer, and then your bolt. Or sorry, your big nut. It tells you to put it to 120 Newton meters on the nut. It's pretty tight. Got a Motion Pro gear jammer. There we go. Sweet. So if you're looking, part number 08-0427 for the Motion Pro gear jammer. You can use that in multiple applications, not just this, to where it only fits this bike. All right, so we're back to it. On the original instructions, it says do not touch the clutch bolts. You can just pull the whole pack out unless you need to. when we went to reassemble it, one of them stripped out, so we put a time cert in it and just fixed it. So now it is solid and we're back to where we need to go. So we're going to put the gasket, put the dowels back into the case, so that way it centers them. There's one still at the bottom right there, and put the new gasket that came in your kit. The silicone should be nice and dry by now. We're gonna go ahead and put the cover back on, take the old gasket off. Make sure your gasket doesn't slip, everything's lined up nice and pretty. What we're doing here is turning the engine over just to make sure that that case lines up with the water pump gear on the back side of the cover right here. So that way you're not just, don't hammer the thing in there. It's also going to be kind of a pain getting hung up on this O-ring right here for the water pump. So make sure that all those are lined up. So now we have, did you grab that clip? Have the clip that we were missing. Somehow missed assembly, or maybe it did pop off and was in the first couple oil changes. But the gasket is going to go behind the rod first, so don't put the rod on yet. It'll slide in between the cover and the cylinder. There's that. There's going to be a hole at the very bottom. That clip is going to go up, and then you spin it and lock it in. Easy. Slide it to the bottom. These ones are going to have lighter torque on it because they are 5mm bolts compared to the rest that are 6mm. Not much instructions left, but put all the crankcase bolts in, water pump bolts. Put the brake bolt back in. Radiator hose. 15 Newton meters for the oil drain plug. 690 cc's to 720 if you do a full engine rebuild. It's seated. Pull the pipe springs. So since the pipe was bent, it'd be easier to loosen all the way, get it behind the pipe and recenter everything. Now that the pipe and silencer on, now we can put the kickstart shaft on, or the kickstart lever, I should say, and figure out where it's not going to hit the pipe and rattle and be a pain in the ass. Make sure you hit the frame, hitting the pipe. Got some Loctite on it already from the factory. It says 25 foot-pounds. It's a torque, so it looks like a, what, T30? T45. Huh?
25 foot-pounds?
25 Newton meters. Make sure that it actuates and returns. Pops back, springs in, fill the coolant, and we're good to go. That is it for the 200 install on a Kickstart.